Mr. Chairman, at the appropriate time, I'd just like to have a closing thought, but I have no more amendments.
Okay. Anyone else have? Representative Salazar.
I just have a comment before we vote.
Can we handle any amendments? Are there any amendments
I have none.
to be suggested? Okay. Then we'll move to just our discussion on the bill prior to the vote. So Representative Salazar.
My only comment is I have some very good friends here, and I hope my concerns are wrong and misguided. If you all succeed, I will admit my mistake freely in opposing the resolution. The federal government is out of control, and I wish you success without the concerns that I foresee. So that's all I wish to say. Thank you.
Mr. Vice Chairman, would you okay. Anybody else before we hear the closing comment here from the Vice Chairman? Okay, Mr. Vice Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I don't have a formal closing comment or anything, but earlier this year I was writing in my journal, and I'm no political scientist, but I did write down, and at first I named it Nathan's Law of Political Power, and I thought, well, that sounds very arrogant. So I scratched that out. But my thought is this: it's greater political power either tries to absorb competing political powers into itself, or to render those powers ineffective. And I think if you were to search that thought through history, you would see that it's true. And we have watched that continually in our country. Our country, where we were designed as a compound government between the federal government and the collective state governments, we've let down our end. The states, instead of collectively working together to hold Washington, D.C. in check, we have dropped the rope, if you will. We have allowed them to grow more and more powerful. And it was alluded to earlier by Mr. Meckler, but in looking backwards, and again, I'm no historian, but I was thinking of this as well. I think that one could see in 1912, in 1932, in 1964, and in 2008, there were fundamental shifts, massive watershed moments regarding the direction of our country and the way our policy would be shaped. And it moved us away from the original intentions of our founding document. And as a result, many would say, of course, that we're still living according to the Constitution, and they wouldn't be wrong. But we're living according to the Constitution as it has been reinterpreted again and again away from its original intentions. And if we don't do this, if we don't, as the state, stand up and take the power that we have been given by Article 5, the question is, what will we have left? And so with that, Mr. Chairman, I am very appreciative to have your consideration and hopefully your approval on House Joint Resolution number 1.
Okay. Thank you for your thoughts. Is there a call for questions?
Questions?
Secretary will call the roll.
Representatives Baker,
No.
Beitman,
Aye.
Jennings,
No.
Olson,
Aye.
Pelkey,
No.
Pennell,
Aye.
Salazar,
No.
Winters.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, we have a tie, 4-4.
Chairman votes aye.
Mr. Chairman, 5-4. The noes being Baker, Representatives Baker, Jennings, Pelkey, and Salazar.
Bill passes committee 5-4. Thank you, audience, for your participation. Thanks, committee. We had a big day we worked on.